Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to construct your canted or non-canted engine mount. This is just one potential layout. Yours does not have to look like the one that I have here. Notice that these motors are canted in this direction. I also have my two platforms kind of close together. They can be spread out as far as you want them to be. Um, in fact, spread out is probably better than close together. But in this case, I was going to have the majority of my rocket motors outside of my rocket, which can have the advantage of, um, being a little bit more stable with the center of pressure a little lower. But it also uh, increases the size of the fins because they have to be up off the ground in order to launch. So just one possible configuration. You can create yours in any configuration you want using basically the same steps. So I've already created my engine tube in a part. So notice it is completely hollow. I made sure it was 1.1 inches wide on the external diameter. So in order to double check your uh, measurement, you can add a dimension here on the outside circle and just make sure that it's 1.1. Um, the internal dimension that I used was 1 inch, so my thickness is about 0.1 inch. So just showing you how you can double check and make sure that it's the right diameter. So I'm going to get rid of that so it's not something that's in the way. You're going to open up a new assembly. So file, new, and then click on assembly. And you're going to want to place your rocket engine tube so that it is symmetrical. So I'm going to flip over my view cube so it says the top, and then I'm going to go over here to the side panel and I'm going to make some of my planes visible so that I can see where the origin is and place my tubes in symmetry around the origin. So I'm going to place the first tube. So I'm going to go place. I named it engine tube. So I'm going to look for engine tube. I'm going to open that. And in this case, I'm going to place it right in the middle. Oh, I need to zoom in a little bit because it is not letting me exactly place it in the middle. Why not? No, I'm going to place it and then I will move it. All right, then I'm going to escape because I'm only going to place one at this point in time. I'm going to edit this one so that I have it exactly in the middle there. Now, notice I kind of eyeballed it. There is a way to add an axis to help you with placing things. So if we go over here to, nope, actually we can do it in assembly. See this toolbar up here that says axes? You can click that and then notice I highlight the work axes here in the very center of the tube. And I can place that work axis there. And now when I look at this from, I guess it's easier to see from an angle, I can make sure that that axis is like right in the middle of where those planes are. So it helps to do some lining up. Also, if I go to cant this, so if I change it, so, come on. If I'm looking at it, say from the front, and I want to free rotate this motor mount so that it's canted, I can look at the difference between my axes and my free rotate, and that will give you kind of a little visual of exactly how far you're rotating the engine mount. So I'm going to undo that because this one I don't want to have rotated. And I'm going to go back up to the top view, and you can see this one's right in the middle. Now, let's say you decided you wanted to do the version where you have one in the middle and then 3 around the outside edge. Now that I've got this one in the middle, I can place the other engine tubes around them. So I'm going to place this one to the top. And then I'm going to cant this one just to show you how to cant it. So I'm going to look at this from the side. And remember, you want the top to be facing in, the bottom to be facing out. So I'm going to free rotate this. Oops. I'm going to free rotate this one. And I want it canted just a little bit into the top. And then I'm going to free move this one so that inside edge is about the same as the center one. Okay. Then I'm going to look at this back from the top again. So notice that this is slightly canted in. All right, so now I'm looking at it from the top. There's a way to copy objects. We've used mirror before. There's also a way to do it in a pattern. So this time we're going to do it in a pattern, and we're going to pick the component that we want to copy. And then we're going to select this circle pattern. We don't want it in a square pattern. We want it in a circle pattern. And we want it to rotate around a point. And that point is the center point here. If it lets me choose the center point, it's not. So I'm just going to click the center point here. Maybe not. Why is it not letting me select that base point? There we go. Now this is making 4 of them. I don't want 4 of them at 90 degrees. I want 3 of them. So if I divide 360 3 times, so let me pull up my calculator on my phone here. 360 divided by 3 is 120. So I want them every 120 degrees instead of every 90 degrees. So I'm going to put 120. Notice that gives me the rocket engines around the middle and every 120 degrees. All right, now the problem with doing that is because I already canted this, dang it, I wasn't thinking. And so now they're all canted in exactly the same direction. So if I spin it around here, they're all kind of facing in the same direction. Since I made this one towards the center, they're all facing off away from the center. So what you're going to have to do is actually place them and then do your free rotate so that they're facing the direction that you want to face them. So I messed up there. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to fix that here. Okay, that looks good. So now I just need to fix this one. So I'm going to free rotate this one now. Actually, I need to get a little more towards the side, so I'm rotating it into the middle. All right, And notice how I'm just kind of like flipping around and stuff to make sure that I'm not actually touching that first one. Okay, so now we've got them canted into the center the way we want them to be. We'll go back to that home view and you can kind of see how they're all facing in. Now you don't have to cant them. You can leave them straight up and down, and you can use mirror to, in the same way that I just did, circular to put them in a square, any arrangement that you want them to be. Okay, so here's the tricky part. So now that we have these in the organization that we want them to be, now we have to put the cross pieces in the big circles to hold them in place and to glue all of the engine mount into your rocket. So the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need 2 work planes, one for each of the surfaces that you're making for those round circles. So notice, I guess I should slow down here. I'm clicking on work plane and I'm clicking offset from plane here. We want them offset from the horizontal plane. So this horizontal plane is in the middle and I want to move it up to the top, ish part of the tubes. Now I made my tubes 2¼ inches long. So it's going to be 1⅛ from the top right now because it's in the middle. So I'm going to move it up 0.75. That will give me about 3/4 inch from that top surface. And again, you can do whatever distance you want. So now you see I have that first work plane there at the top. And then I'm going to do the same thing again, only this time I'm going to offset the plane downward. And the way that we offset it downward is I'm going to put a negative 0.75. So if I use a positive, it's going to go towards the top. If I do negative, it's going to do towards the bottom. So now if we look at it, you can see I have 2 work planes. One is close to the top, one is close to the bottom. I might need to recant this one right there. It's still kind of facing a little wonky, so I'm going to fix that real quick. You definitely want your canting perfect before you do the next step, because otherwise it will mess up the cut lines. All right, so now to a step that we've never actually done before. I'm still not happy with that one. Hold on, guys. Sorry. This is where you get to see Miss T's OCD. Still needs to go in just a titch. There we go. All right. Okay, I think I'm happy with it now. Okay, so here's something we've never done before. We're going to go over to this little block here that says create. We're going to click on it. We're going to give this new part a name because it's literally going to make us another part. So we're going to call this one top platform. Actually, I'm going to call it top motor platform. Because once you start building your rocket, you may end up with some other platforms. And then I'm going to see how I have this new little part icon. I've got to click on the work plane that I want to make that new part. So now notice I'm automatically in 3D modeling mode here. I've got access to all of my different tools. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a circle here. Whoops, sorry. Need to open. It was not open to my new sketch like I thought it was. Okay, now we're open to our new sketch. I'm going to create a circle. And the center line is already over my center rocket tube. motor tube, and I'm going to create a circle that's just big enough to encompass all of my engines. So in this case, that's about 3.7. Now we can go back and make this circle bigger, but this will at least give me the minimum measurement that I need for my body too. Now I'm going to go up here to where you see project cut edges. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on each of the 3 body tubes. So now what it's doing is it's projecting the geometry of where this work plane cuts through each of those tubes. So if I look at this, notice that those circles go along where the tubes overlap this work plane. Then I can go into the extrude, and my profile that I'm going to be extruding is all around the outside. I don't want to click on the insides. I don't want to extrude the tubes. I want all the area around the tubes. So I'm going to click on that. And then again, I need to pick which direction I'm going to extrude it. So I'm going to extrude, the thickness of the cardboard is 0.2. So I'm going to go 0.2. If I want to extrude it upward, it'll go like that. If I want to extrude it downward, it will go like that. So it just kind of depends on how much of that engine mount you want sticking out. So I'm just gonna pick this direction. Doesn't really matter. I'm just doing it as a demo. Okay. So now if I go back here, notice that part now has a holes where that engine mount is. And if I click return, it is now its own portion of my engine mount, and kind of feel like I don't like where that one is. It still looks like it's pointing outward, so I probably should have fixed that one before I made it. All right, you're gonna do the same thing again. This time on the bottom one, you're gonna again click create. You're gonna give it a name, bottom motor platform. I'm gonna click OK. And then I've got my little icon. I'm gonna click that work plane on the bottom this time. I'm gonna start my sketch. And I'm gonna do the same thing. This time, I'm gonna project my cut edges first. And then I'm going to go back up to project geometry. I'm going to pick this outer circle. So now I've got all the geometry that was there. The only part that's cut through are those inner circles. So that's why I had to go up and change to project geometry instead of project cut edges in order to get that outer circle. And again, I'm going to do my 3D extrusion, pick that space around. Oops. And what just happened? I just lost something. Sometimes because I'm doing this on a weird touchpad instead of with a mouse. All right, and I'm gonna make this one go the other way as it goes outward. Go OK, and then close my part. Now you'll see I have my full engine mount. Now sometimes you guys might be like, got all these work planes there. It's kind of a distracting. How do I get rid of some of that stuff? So remember that you can make anything visible to get it out of the way, or invisible. Sorry, make it visible to see it, or make it invisible to get it out of the way by just clicking on checking or unchecking visibility. So I can take all of those work planes out of there. I missed one. Nope, I made that invisible. Okay, why is that? Hold on, I missed something here. Anyway, so you can make anything visible or invisible to get it out of the way, to be able to see, how your part is coming together. Now, let's say, for instance, this is good for just learning. I am really unhappy with this body tube over here. It's still not the direction that I want. I can click free rotate. I can still rotate that. And I can look around, make sure that I'm happy with that rotation now. And it should update where the cut lines are. So it did not give me any errors or anything. So it looks like it auto updated where those cut lines are. So once you import geometry like that, it will automatically update the geometry. Now, don't forget to save your file. So file, save as, make sure you're picking your H drive. So when you click on this, you should be going all the way to the bottom and you'll see your H drive. Make sure to give it a really good name that's descriptive with your name in it, because eventually we're going to be making cut files out of this so that we can cut those circles. This is my second one because I did one for practice. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to say, okay, yep, all of those files that were updated, I want to incorporate those updated files. And I say yes, and I say accept, and there we go. So there you have it, a canted engine mount, ready and waiting to get circles cut and printed. And there you have it.